It's Dew Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Due Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About a Tuesday Church Folk Day, and we got to talking about the accountability of the preachers and the pastors and the ministers and the accountability of the pew seaters. Yes, 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 the congregants. And we talked about the fact that are we holding one another responsible and accountable for what they are doing and what they're saying? We all know that the word of God says be very careful because there will be wolves in sheep clothing. I want to make sure I said that right. And they will be making presentations that sound great, but in actuality, they will not be of God. So you have to make sure that you study to show yourself approved so that you can be able to detect those who actually hear and know and are able to say whether what they're being told is accurate. You can't sit there and amen your way through the entire service, through the entire sermon, and now you can't even determine what's real and what's not real. God is holding you responsible because you need to know. Yes, of course, we're going to give you stuff, but there's no way in the world that you should be able to be just pulled around. The word of God says, my sheep hear my voice. So you just can't be listening to everybody's voice and following it. And as Pastor Vinny said, like the Pied Piper. Yes. Now, the accountability of our actual video, oh my goodness gracious, of our congregants. We have to hold ourselves accountable, and clergy have to hold us accountable. Are we sitting there and we just want to be tickled in our ear, things that sound good, things that make us feel good, those prosperity sermons and prophetic word that come through the church? Hey, that's not for everybody. Everybody's not on the same word, and who's going to get a windfall of money or get that brand new car or get that brand new house. We have to make sure that whatever we are getting, we know that we are aware whether it's true or not, so that we can now go back and ask some questions. If you have not done your own studying, then you will have no idea who's telling the truth and who is not telling the truth. Now, that's a whole lot of accountability. In other words, they can't just sit up and preach anything to us. And in other words, we can't just sit there and take in everything, because we are charged to be hearers, not hearers, but doers of the word. So how are we going to be doers of the word if the word that's coming to us is erroneous? Pay attention, and pay attention. So it started off with a PSA yesterday, and we ended up going back to that PSA because it was quite powerful, and we wanted to make sure we kind of gave our church folk segment a little bit of time to get that understanding. Yeah, that's what we have to do. And that's how we spent our Tuesday. Well, today is Wow Wednesday, everybody. And we are about to get our socially conscious segment from our girl Vivian. And we have no idea what she's going to bring this week. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm so twisted this morning. It's due time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
To thank God for the things that he's given you, because oftentimes, way too many times, there are a lot more requests than thank yous. Before you ask God for anything, thank him for everything. It's as simple as this. You go to God, you ask for something, he gives you the blessing, he answers the prayer, you say thank you, and then that's it. Then you go dry. And the only time God hears from you is when you're ready to make the next request. I said this before, your prayer life comes from a place of begging. This is the reason why any of you all who've ever been in my study, if you've had a chance to talk to me, if I ever prayed for you, you know how I lead my prayer. I thank God first, and I exalt, worship, praise him, honor his name. Then after that, I decree and declare. I make the request, I ask for things. But I start by thanking God because it's about your posture, and have a posture of thankfulness, a posture of gratitude. God owes us nothing, but we owe it all to him. Because I can guarantee you, you are walking in a prayer that you forgot you prayed about. And we can't keep treating God as something that's simply transactional, because he is too good of a father. So check your gratitude before you ask for another request, okay? Yeah.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Wow Wednesday. I love that PSA. We've heard that PSA before, and your attitude of gratitude is what needs to hit that Richter scale. We cannot go to God just begging and asking for things and expecting God to be that genie in a bottle where we just rub and rub and rub and then he just pops out with stuff. Nope. We've got to say a word of thanks, and we've got to do some things, to warrant the answer of our prayer. Remember, the word of God says don't do anything that will hinder your prayers from being answered. So if all you do is go to God begging and you don't serve God in any way, then please know, and know that you know that, yeah, this may not work out the way you want it to work out, despite the fact that you're begging. All right. Well, let's say good morning to our due time viewers. If you're in the room, make sure you check in. Otherwise, Pastor Steph doesn't know you are in the room. We got to check in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty girl. Thank you so much for joining us. We got to check in from our boy, Serge. Hey, Serge, what's going on? Thank you for joining us this morning, and happy travels to you. We got to check in from Lady Tamika on this side. Can't wait to get to that conversation on the other side. We got a check-in from Yuri from Ukraine. All right. Well, thank you so much. Oh, well, Kiev. Yeah. Good morning. So glad that you're checking in from the Ukraine. We've got another check-in from JH out in Liverpool, in England. Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Kenny's saying that was a great PSA. Tamika says, check yourself before you wreck yourself. For the people in the back, in other words, absolutely. Let's say good morning to the ladies that hold it down each and every morning. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey, Shantice. And let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Good morning. Thank you so much, ladies, for all your hard work. Miss Grace, if you're out there, good morning. Hope you're doing well this morning and you have a wonderful and blessed day. Well, you know what time it is. It's that socially conscious time with our girl Vivian. Let's say good morning. Good morning,
Good
Vivian.
morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am well, thank you. You got a different background today.
Yes, I'm here for the
Uh-huh.
long haul today.
All righty. All right. I know you got some good stuff for us. So you know what I always like to ask. What you got for us today?
All right, today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with a plea to our listeners. So, at least once or twice a year, we come with this plea asking people to go out and donate blood. And it is that time of the year, as reports say health officials in New York and in New Jersey are sounding the alarm over a serious blood shortage across the tri-state area. They're saying the New York Blood Center says blood donations have dropped nearly 40%, leaving hospitals with less than a 2-day blood supply. Less than a 2-day blood supply. Officials say the problem was caused by the winter storms, canceled blood drives, holiday travel, and a major spike in flu cases that kept many donors home. We know this year, part of our socially conscious news was about the flu cases going up. So, all of this and the storms, all of this caused for people who would usually go out and donate blood to not be able to do that this year. So they are in a serious need. Doctors say this is not just about surgeries. Blood is needed every day for accident victims, cancer patients, people with chronic illnesses, and emergency situations. Officials are asking for people with O negative blood, especially, to donate because it is a universal type often used in trauma cases. They're saying right now, fewer than 5% of eligible people donate blood. Even though someone in America needs blood every 2 seconds. That's insane. So they are asking you, if you are eligible, please make the time to go out and donate blood. They are in serious need this year. I know a lot of us went out, in the past and we weren't eligible, but try again. Maybe things have changed. So again, if you have the time, make sure you go out, make the time and donate some blood. You could be saving someone's life. Next, we have a New York City student who is pushing for the voting age to be lowered in the primary elections, arguing that teens who are old enough to work, pay taxes, and be affected by political decisions should also have more of a voice in choosing their leaders. The proposal would mainly focus on allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in local primary elections, where many important decisions in New York City are often made. So we have the kids out there saying that they deserve a voice. If I could work, if I could pay taxes, I should be allowed to vote. Critics, however, question whether teenagers are mature enough to vote and worry that lowering the voting age could create confusion or put too much politics into the schools, and I could see that happening. Other points Others point out that New Jersey recently allowed some 17-year-olds to vote in certain primary elections, but turnout among that age group was still extremely low. So they're saying, what's the point of us pushing for you guys to vote if you're not going to show up? The debate is also happening during a time when New York is already seeing major conversations around ranked choice voting, youth voter turnout, and election reform after record-breaking participation in recent city elections. So we will see what comes of this fight for the kids to be able to vote. We'll see what they decide to do. Next, we have some possible good news, or should I say some seemingly good news for New York City, as officials have announced that NYCHA developments across the 5 boroughs will receive about $5.6 billion in repairs and renovations. NYCHA residents are receiving $5.6 billion in repairs and renovations. We have talked so many times about the NYCHA residents who are dealing with things like leaks and molds and really bad conditions. So they have finally given these people some money to make these repairs. The money is expected to go toward long-standing issues like broken elevators, heating problems, mold, leaks, security upgrades, and apartment repairs in aging public housing buildings that residents have been complaining about for years. Officials say the funding will come from a mix of federal, state, city, and private partnership programs that have been tied to NYCHA. Supporters say bringing in private partners is one of the fastest ways to get the money into NYCHA, which now has nearly an $80 billion repair backlog. So they are backlogged $80 billion, and they have just been given $5.6 billion to go towards repairs. So unfortunately, everybody's will not be touched, but they will be making those repairs soon. And now for our wow story of the week. A Florida middle school teacher has been fired after her students recorded her hanging a black doll by the neck from a television cord inside the classroom. Students said they were shocked, and one secretly recorded the moment because he felt nobody would believe them if it was not recorded. They say that the teacher took this doll from a student and decided, as a joke, to hang this black doll from the neck from the TV. Parents and community members were outraged, of course, because the image reminded many people of America's history of lynching and racial violence. After the video went viral, the school district fired the teacher and reported her to the state education department for possible action against her teaching license. So not only was she fired from her school, but she will possibly not be able to work in any other school going forward. In 2026, many people are asking how something like this could still happen in a school classroom. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories that you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers and listeners, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Vivian. Got some interesting stuff going on here. Definitely conversation worthy. Great job as always. Let's get our ladies on. Let's see our lady Tamika. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wild Wednesday to you.
Same to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning. How are you?
All right, all right. Thank you. How are you?
I thank you.
All right. So the blood need sign and alarm is going out now, and we are being sought after to donate blood. There's been a 40% drop, and now they are left of donations of blood, and they are left with only a 2-day blood supply in the hospitals. The problem comes from flu cases, the fact that we stayed inside during the storms and the flood, and now we've gotten to a serious need, and blood is needed on a regular basis. It's not just at certain times, but it's needed for everyday emergencies, cancer, accidents, and things like that. They are calling out for all negative blood donors, especially because they're the universal ones. And fewer than 5% of eligible people even donate blood. So, you know, they want us to just get on out there, donate the blood. Lady Tamika, are you one who normally donates blood? What's your thought?
I am a donor, um, but I'm probably one of the ones that have not been going. But it's just life circumstances. Those that have been watching the show know that, my husband he broke his finger, and then there was other things. And, he's had basically 2 surgeries within the last, couple of months. And it's just, life circumstances, things that happen. And I have not been, but I do need to go. One of the things that keeps me from going is just that I have small veins. And a lot of times when I go, my veins roll and they may or may not get, what they need. So it's a hard process for me, as well as the person who's getting, trying to get the blood. So a lot of times that's why I'm prevented from doing so. But I do need to get out there and get it done.
Okay, okay. I'm interested in our viewers. How many of you donate blood? Just let us know. If you are one of the blood donors. Shantice, they're reaching out now. Blood donations are needed. Are you one who will donate blood?
I will. I don't normally donate. It's not something that has been on my normal, rotation of things to do. But definitely, going. I've never been the type to be afraid of needles. Thank God. Surprisingly, as scary as I act a lot of the times, so knowing that there's so many people who could use on a day-to-day basis, who could use the blood, and God is on us every day about how we care for our bodies. So definitely something to really consider in making sure that I'm able to contribute to.
Okay. What about you, Viv?
I haven't donated before. It's definitely something I want to do. The last time I tried, I couldn't because of iron issues. Um, but I was recently went and there was nothing wrong with those levels. So I definitely want to try again. I didn't think about the fact that lately they've been having a really hard time finding my veins as well. They've been having to poke me 2 or 3 times to actually find a vein. But I'll just have to push through and get it done because that's definitely something that's been on my mind. We talked about people that we know who have been in need of a blood transfusion. So if they're in desperate need like this and I can give, and I'm actually O negative, so I'm a universal
Wow.
donor.
Okay.
Yeah, so I definitely want to get out there and help if I can.
Okay. And you too, Lady Tamika?
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I get
Okay.
I should have known, because there are certain times when they call, because you have a season. You know, you give blood, and then there's I don't think it's 6 months. It's a period of time that they give you a pause, and then they call you again. And I thought about it. They had been calling me on a regular. And that's why, because I know for a fact that I'm a universal donor.
Okay. Well, I've been getting text messages. Have you all gotten text messages?
All of them.
Yeah. It's like every couple months now, over the past maybe 8 or 9 months, I get a text message, and I wanted to include it in our health fair to see if they would be able to utilize that day to collect blood. If we could get a van out there, that would be, we're trying to stretch what godly behavior and godly love looks like. You know what I'm saying? So to have that van on the premises, for that day of the conference and the walk would really be a good show of what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I do get the text messages. Like you ladies, I do have this issue, not years ago, but since I've been sick on a regular basis, I have a really difficult time with them drawing blood. And that ain't no joke. It just ain't no joke. I am not an O negative. Actually, I'm actually A negative, which only 7% of the people in this world have that blood type. And God forbid we need blood. And I have in the past. So I know how important, and unexpectedly, I know how important it is that we donate blood, because at any given moment, something could go wrong and you need to receive blood. So it's my desire to be able to give. I too, like Vivian, have walked into the iron. I think you said the same thing, Shantice. I've walked into the iron deficiency.
Yes.
So I haven't been able to give. But I think, this really, it behooves us to consistently check to find out, if we're on the level that we need to be, regarding our iron, so that we can. So again, we're calling out to those who can, especially those who have O negative blood, which is the universal donor. Go out, find a blood bank and, help to save a life, because that's just really is the bottom line. We need blood. So thank you so much. We got a check-in from Terrence. Hey, Terrence. And we got a check-in from our girl, Adele. Hey, haven't seen you in a minute. Glad to see you here. Ketty says, I've donated in the past. We'll try to donate soon. And I remember about 10 years ago, we talked about this in church, about going out and donating blood. So, now that this has come up again, and like I said, I've been getting it, and that's one of the things on my radar, is to get us a truck out. So hopefully, if we get our 300 walkers, we'll have at least half of them donating blood. So let's keep our prayers going for that. Well, New York City students are pushing for the voting age to be dropped. Our 16 and 17-year-olders want to be able to vote, at least in the smaller, like the little primaries and, the local votes, not even so much the presidential or mayoral voting, but definitely on the smaller rankings. They are looking to, vote, because they say, listen, we're working, we're eligible to work, we're eligible to pay taxes. Why not extend this thing and help us to vote? Now, others in other states, they have the ability to vote, but they have found that the registration as well as the actual turnout is not as great as they would hope for it to be. So critics here in New York City are kind of feeling the same way as to, hey, we give you this ability. Are you going to squander it? So, they feel also that the maturity level may not be what it needs to be to vote. Shantice, what's your thought?
I think if these kids are petitioning to have their voice heard, it should be really considered, heavily considered. Long go the days of us not having to be involved in that woke, as they like to say in the streets, in regards to what's going on, the decisions that's being made, especially locally, the decisions that's being made. And even if they're pretending like they care, yes, put them in the position, especially the young men, because you do better, and it's a lot easier to get, not better, it's a lot easier to get the young women involved. If you were to really put the pedal to the metal, the young women will respond a lot quicker than the young men. So if the young men are out here saying, we want to be able to vote, we want to be able to have a say as to who's making these type of decisions that's affecting not only me, but I see that's affecting my siblings, that's affecting my parents, that's affecting, yes. But yeah, get some requirements in place. Okay, so you're only eligible to vote if you're currently enrolled in school. You're only eligible to vote if your grades are at a certain level. You only, yes, get these things in place, and now start. How many of these people running? How many of them are actually going to the schools and maybe having focus groups and talking to them and seeing and noticing the dropout rate and noticing, okay, I did a random pop-up. This wasn't planned. I just popped up here. What's the attendance for today? How many of y'all are doing that? Absolutely. Make sure that, yes, this is something that you're encouraging so that you can help for their minds to be on a certain level. They're watching their peers get killed by each other in these communities. Let's get this going. Let's teach them what it is to rally people up together. And every so often, we're not only coming together as a community when the next person gets killed, but we're coming together periodically just so we can be on one accord and support each other and prevent. Let's be proactive. So I love it. I love it. Let's get it going. And I think if it goes ignored, it just further shows what the politicians are really about.
Okay, thank you. Vivian, what say you?
I like those ideas that Shantice just gave. Where my mind went is now, if that's the case, because I don't know a lot of 16, 17-year-olds who are very knowledgeable in what's happening with the politics. So if they're going to take it seriously, absolutely. But my concern is now the politicians out here doing TikTok dances and trying to appeal to the 16 and 17 year olds. So the maturity level on the sense of the politicians is what I'm concerned about. Like, are you going to now bring yourself to their level in order to get those votes? Like, I don't want to see that happening. Let's still keep it mature on their end. Let's still keep it to what people are really concerned about. Let's not now start, only focusing on what 16 and 17-year-olds want to see because you want those votes. Like, if it's going to help, I'm all for it. But if it's just going to become a circus show, then no, thank you. No, thank you. In the sense of the politicians and the children. Because, again, 16 and 17-year-olds today, they're not very mature. So now you out there voting for nonsense because he could dance or because she did this, and no, I don't want to see that happening.
Oh my goodness gracious. Tamika, are you concerned about the same thing the ladies are talking about?
I'm going in a totally different route. We still have all these faces here, they're kind of tan. We're still having problems trying to get our right solidified. Now we got 16-year-olds that you want to give and I think it's a beautiful thing, but my fear is we keep talking about these ages, and then they're not fully mature. Not only that, they don't know the history of certain things, and they can be easily swayed by all of these commercials and things that sometimes you only see that face one time. You see them and I saw such and such in my neighborhood, let me vote for them. You don't know anything. You don't do your due diligence. You don't do your research. You don't inquire to find out that this person had this in the past, which still affects us today. So it's very scared. And the way that they vote sometimes scares me, because it's like, okay, I don't want you to vote just because, this person was in my neighborhood. You're not going to see them for another however many years, and they showed up in your neighborhood just for your vote. Now they got your vote, and now this whole neighborhood is in a fiasco because you and your friends decided to vote together. If you're gonna do it the right way. Here we go again with the same thing I said yesterday. Do your due diligence to ensure, So I'm a little concerned, because I might say, you're still a little young. You might want to sit a little while and see what's going on.
Okay. Adele says, be proactive. So I'm on the fence here. I think it's because I agree with everything that you ladies have said. I have a concern that, let me take a look at this picture again up close. Oh, it ain't going to be many of us on this voting line. And I do share the feeling that, are you mature enough to understand everything? So my thought is, are we going to give classes that teach, the history of voting, and, what should we look for in a politician, in a specific politician? Adults don't know why we vote for councilmen and assemblymen and mayors and governors, and adults don't know necessarily what these roles are. So I think that needs to be a level of education as well. How often do we vote for these offices? And I think there needs to be a real class that's given to get them acclimated into understanding exactly what this whole thing is about. I think that's the first thing that needs to happen. I do agree that where the heads of where our average 16 and 17 year olds old is, it's a little shaky there. Mm-hmm. And are we going to put the pen in their hand? Because like who was it? Vivian said that, are they going to be doing TikTok dances? Because, Adele says, they pimping people for their votes. And I can see them being manipulated. I can see them going out to the schools, and going out to different community centers and things like that. And excuse me. And the politicians are trying to show that they're down with the kids, and and now it's like, oh, he's cool, and because someone is not able to go out as often or interested to go out for that very reason, or someone, excuse me, someone who goes out, but they're not that flamboyant and interacting with the young people like that. They're not going to be looked at as a person that I'm going to want to vote for, type of thing. So I do agree that they could be easily manipulated, and because voting is private, you can't go and vote in that slot with a person. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to want us in there with our kids. So, that's going to be another hindrance. Are they going to be teaching them about the way the ballot looks? Because if they have a ballot that looked like that one last year for that presidential election, oh, they'll be real twisted. Because we couldn't figure out what was going on. They had all kinds of twists and turns and puzzle pieces out of order and all kinds of things. So I do have a big concern about them voting. I think we need to take 16 and 17-year-olds to that plateau. Don't maybe necessarily allow them to vote, but prepare them to be able to vote at 18. You follow what I'm saying? Right. And spend that 16 and 17, those 16 and 17 years to, hey, once you're 16, we're going to start you on this voting process and the whole road to voting, if you will. And now I think we'll stand a better chance that when they are a little more mature and when they do understand that particular process, then fire away. I don't think I want to put the pen in their hand at this time with them being so vulnerable and their heads not being in the right place. I hate for the ones who are, prepared. But guess what? If you're going to weigh them out, the whole lot more not prepared or unprepared than those are who are prepared. So I don't know. Adele says, home is the classroom. I'm over the education system. Anika says, we got older folks who are still ignorant on what's going on in voting. They never put civic classes back in school. And I agree. I do agree with the fact that the voting process and stuff should be at home. But let's hear from the ladies. Shantice, do you feel that whole journey to voting should be a home schooled journey, or the educational systems can really lend a hand to that?
Homeschool, as in who's teaching who? The students teaching the parents?
No, Adele is making a suggestion. So ask her. Because trust me when I tell you, that was my question. I'm like,
who's teaching who? Right now, both sides is failing. The parents are failing with teaching what they're supposed to teach, and the classroom is failing what the classroom is supposed to teach. And you do a better chance leaving them in school and implementing that in the curriculum at the school. Because again, you can't get half the parents to go out and vote, as it was already said. You can't get half the adults to care about what's actually going on, within their communities for them to, want to vote. And so forget about globally, when it has to do with how the buses are being ran in your community and what's being offered and, so on and so forth, right there, right outside your door. So definitely not at home. That should definitely be something that's implemented within the curriculum. I agree. At least once you become like a sophomore, so you're about 15 years old. Yes, you have a lot again. And when you present these things to these kids, you'll be surprised how many of them will be interested in it and would pick up on it, and how that one thing sometimes is what helps to get them and keep them interested in other areas of studies. But it's like, it wasn't until, politics or whatever was presented in school, and that piqued my interest, and that, you never know. So yeah, definitely implement that into the schools, and then get that parent coordinator going, and now there's your link to the parent. Bam! But it can't be from home. And that's just an epic fail. That's unofficially going on now. If that was the case, the kids should be woke now.
Okay. Adele has a series of comments. She says, homeschool these kids. Okay, Shanti's right. You right. Schools are trying to make our kids workers, not thinkers. And she says, you compare a black and white school funding. Lady Tamika, what about this? The thought of No, do not give this responsibility to the school. That needs to be done at home.
I think it is an additive to have it in the school curriculum. You know, I think about so many things that the school curriculum has lost that was essential. You know, for instance, you know, some of the sexual education, like we learned sexual education, what, sixth grade? You know, now you need to show it earlier, and some of them are not getting it, you know, which is why a lot of times we have all these young children, you know, that are pregnant so early because it's not a part of the curriculum. Mom and dad are not teaching it at home. So now we have a lost child, you know, that for some reason was not told or was not informed, except for after. Now she's pregnant and now there's this issue. I think it would be a wonderful thing to have it in the school curriculum, but it would be a blessing to have it at home. The sad part about it is a lot of our everyday people have no clue. You know, they see these faces and it comes out and you get all these flyers and they know nothing. They don't know anything. And my thing is you have technology that's so beneficial to you. So you have somebody whose name comes out and you don't even do your own due diligence. I think that if you pique the interest of these children, you show them videos and things that have happened in the past. You show them elections and things that have transpired. You show them both sides so that they can see, not just one side, you know, so that they can make their own informed decision. And it's part of the curriculum. And it affects their own neighborhood, and show them how it affects their neighborhood. Show them the whole process, you know, with your civil leaders, your community leaders, the consensus, the census that comes out and how that affects your neighborhood. I think at that point, that would help them make the choices that would correctly affect their neighborhood.
Okay. Viv, what say you?
I think it needs to be in the schools. For one, like what Lady Tamika said, it's something that needs to be brought back with all the silliness that they have taken out certain things to that they replace certain things with. Like, this is something that should be in there, and because it'll keep it streamlined. There'll be a lot of regulations and rules put on how they teach these kids about it. We know a lot of teachers may not follow it, but at least those things will be in place. So if they don't, then there will be consequences for it. I think if it's at home, then the kids have too much room to be brainwashed by family and parents. And the way that the mental health is going in this world, now we got socially conscious stories, wild stories where dad shot the daughter because she said she wanted to vote for this person. Like, I think it's safer to keep it in the schools because the DOE would be able to keep the teachers in check on how they teach it, and the kids have a safer place to learn about politics and why we vote for this person and what to look for in this person. If we put it in the homes only, too much brainwashing going on and too many issues being had in the home because I want you to vote this way and you want to vote that way.
Okay. You ladies brought us some interesting things that we need to consider. Adele says, think about why they are banning the books they are banning. Right. Yep, you show them the past. The past shows us how to prepare for the future. So I think we never eliminate the training that needs to come from home. But I feel like this needs to be a school thing. Mm-hmm. I agree with those of you who said this needs to be a school thing, because I think it would be flushed out. If they did it properly, it would be flushed out. Again, my thought is the road to voting, understanding every single point of this process, understanding the roles, understanding the responsibilities of not only just the person who's running for office, but again, like we talked about yesterday, the responsibility and holding everybody accountable. Now these kids are understanding that I need to make an educated decision. Like Vivian said, not what my mom and dad are drilling in me. Um, I believe that that needs to be done on an educational level because it belongs in the school. I don't think that this is something that should be even up for debate. I think that the school needs to teach this. Just plain and simple as that. You're teaching all these other things. That needs to be a part of the curriculum. It's preparing our children for adulthood. And when if you're doing this starting 16 years old, when they're learning, when they're given other things, then yeah, add this to the curriculum. This is a really important part of history, and where we are today, So not only just showing them the past in regards to what has happened back in the day, but even how voting has evolved. Right. That whole process has evolved. I think if this was put in a school and it was done properly, it really would be beneficial to our young people to learn this. And it's definitely something that needs to be put in school. They've taken a lot of stuff out of school, like Lady Tamika said, home ec. I remember I learned how to sew in home ec. I remember I had a wood shop class. I learned how to cut the wood, how to sand it down, how to paint it and shellac it. I mean, I learned how to. They had cooking classes. It's like so many things have come out of school that they really need and replaced by. What is it being replaced with? So I think this would be an excellent opportunity to educate our children properly and get them all the information that they need. Let's see.
The scary thing about that is them remaining impartial. Even when we look at the news now, everything is subjective. They put their information, their opinion in, and you could tell even by their expressions or their tone, like, okay, you voted for such and such. If you teach it and be impartial, just give them the facts and let them make the decision.
Right. Absolutely. Adele says they are already trying to control us by taking away our voting rights. I don't trust the system, although I agree. Okay. Although I agree with you all, it's a process and all of us have to be involved. But unfortunately, if the school was run by our people, then I would be more open to this stuff. Oh, I'm going around and round robin with this one. If the school was run by our people, then I would be more open to this stuff. But I do not trust Big Brother and what they're already doing to try and control us. Unfortunately, we do not live in that type of society. Hence the reason we have the issue that we have in this society. All right, I'm taking this another round. All right, Shantice, you still first leg on this one. If the school was run by our people, then I would be more open to this stuff. But I do not trust Big Brother and what they already do or what they're already doing to try and control us. What say you?
Our people as in other humans? Or
I doubt if that's what she means.
Our people as in
our
other
people on this side of the fence, our people.
Black and brown, absolutely not. No. It sounds dreamy. But no. Unfortunately, we don't rise enough as a people. For me. We're still too much of the crabs in the barrel mentality, people. We're still too much of the ignorant. We're still too much of standing on a line waiting for Jordans in our 40s. No. No. Unfortunately, there are a lot of us, just like on the opposite side of the fence, that are very innovative, that are very creative, what we have going for us that a lot of the other cultures don't is we naturally have what a lot of the other cultures have to go to school and get. But because in all the other areas, for the most part, it's just all shot to damnation, we can never keep it afloat as a whole. So because of that, in my opinion, for me to put my child in an institution that is where we're dominating, yeah, no.
All righty. Lady Tamika, what say
Maybe
you
after
if
the rapture.
What happened?
I said maybe after the rapture.
All right. Adele says, if the school was run by our people, then I would be more open to this stuff. But I do not trust Big Brother and what they're already doing to try and control us. Why are you silent?
Oh, you going for me? No, because you were reading, so I didn't. I thought because she. Okay, never mind.
Okay, wait. She says HB. She's throwing out HBCU as an example. Yeah.
No, I got you. And usually by HBCUs, because I am a product of an HBCU. Big up for the HBCUs. But at that point, you should know where you're going and what you're doing. The sad part about that is it would be a beautiful thing. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this now. For the handful or the many more that have it together, that are not still sleeping and that know, what's going on, that would be beautiful if those were the few that were teaching. But in a real world, in a real society, that's not who's teaching at this particular time, and they gave this person this authority to teach, and she doesn't know what she's doing, and she's teaching a group of people that don't know and haven't had access, and you basically got stone soup. You got everybody throwing stuff in there, and it becomes a mess. And then we end up with adults who become a mess because the teacher didn't know what she was doing. It's sad. We need somebody who really knows. Even if we could get someone who has been on the in that process, not necessarily our civic or community leaders, because we understand that they have a great responsibility. But those who help, somebody who, let's say for instance, is beneficial in making the phone calls and making sure that they go out. Someone who literally has that responsibility, so that they can teach them both sides because they see it. They're working in that field. That might help. Somebody, Aunt Peaches, who just Auntie Peaches, who is out there, and she see how you have people that stand in a little further up on the voting day, and she sees somebody there, and they say, "Hey, have you voted today?" And they hand her a flyer, and she just goes in there and signs. That's not who you need to get to teach.
Okay. Vivian, what say you?
No, thank you. No, thank you. Need I remind you that it was our people who was all for Trump this time around. No, thank you. No, thank you. They are talking more and more about how trauma is in the bloodline, to where even though I haven't experienced what my mother or my grandmother have experienced, their trauma is still in my DNA. Now you opening up the doors for these people to teach our children about who they should be voting for and how they should be voting. No, thank you.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
the white people are gonna say, they're gonna toe the line. I mean, of course you're gonna have people on both sides that's gonna try to, do what they want to do despite the rules. But when you give us an opportunity, we don't do well with those opportunities. We just don't. We just don't. No, you give us a little power. They gonna cause an uprising.
We sell it. We sell the power, and then get mad at the
No,
decisions that's being made.
It's a beautiful thought, Adele, but no, thank you.
All right, so
Pastor Steph, you know what's scary to me is when they have this typical or representative Black person that's supposed to speak for all of us, and I'm just sitting there going, this is
yes.
This is a mess. I don't feel that way. My emotions. I mean, it's always one Black person, and that one Black person is supposed to speak for all of us. And I'm going, oh my God, what a travesty! Like, how in the world did we get here? And that one person is supposed to represent every single one of us, and that's not how we vote at all.
Okay, so in a perfect world, I would agree. It would be wonderful for us to be the headliners, front runners, trendsetters that were technically doing the job. Every time we get an opportunity, the Bible says man always fails us. I don't have that level. Okay, so here's what I find interesting in this room. You have two millennials who are saying absolutely not. You have Tamika, who is in between the millennials and myself. So you kind of got almost three different levels here. As the elder person in the room, I ain't sold on our ability. Let me rephrase that. I'm sold on our ability, but our execution always gets jammed up. We always get sidetracked. We are influenced. We don't know how to have authority and live with that authority and execute things based on what we're supposed to be doing. I just don't see this being beneficial to us. I'd rather put my faith in the hands of a system that's blended with just people who are supposed to do things the right way. Has the system failed us? Absolutely. We can all in this room say and agree with you who say, you know what, the system is not failing, is failing us. And we can't, unfortunately, we don't have the confidence that we should be able to have the confidence in them. The level of confidence is not there. Homeschooling our children? Absolutely not. I don't see this happening when you send the kids to school. How are we failing the kids when we send them to school? Now, I can't vote for homeschooling because, see, already I'm looking at the average parent. Period. I would sooner say my prayer, because to me, homeschooling is beneficial for very few. Our kids couldn't handle COVID. They couldn't handle, they got cabin fever and they got to be out. Then how are we handling homeschooling and it being left to our people? I have never known our people to be so weak as, I wish Pastor KL was on here with me now. This here, what I'm looking at now, when we do this news every day, nah, we ain't stepped up to the plate enough to be able to put all of this in our pocket, all of this in our lap. And that's, to me, very unfortunately, because I do know that if we did do the right thing, we could rock this out, and this would be some kind of system. Yes, we could rock this out and blow this thing away. But because our personal lives take precedence over the children's lives, because we don't take the time with our kids, how is a child in the 3rd grade failing school because they don't have their homework done? Have somebody help me. So I want to leave my children, our children, to y'all can't even ensure that they get their homework done. No.
In a 2-parent household.
It's so sad. And again, I'm not saying that the other side of the fence has knocked this out of the park. By far. But I'd sooner put my trust in a blended system, and I do my part as the parent. Let the school do their part as a school. Not only that, our kids ain't made the way we used to be made. Our kids ain't made to be taught under our way of thinking.
That's because we can't teach nothing.
Nah. They're not I would say back in my day, this would be a very good consideration. But not now. I think our kids, so why are the kids so weak? Let's think about this thing.
The parents.
Let's think about this thing. Ladies, let's think about this thing. Why are our children so weak? Vivian, you meet children every morning. Spend the whole day with them. You get an up close and personal view of what comes out of the home. I can't rely on these parents to do these things with their children on a part-time basis. I'm going to rely on them to do these things on a full-time basis. I personally, at 60 years old, almost, I don't have the confidence. I'm sorry.
They don't have the patience. They don't have the patience.
No.
They haven't had it in a long time.
Yes.
We have a teacher who set up a whole reward system. If the kids do their homework every day for a month, they get a certain type of prize. So the parents were doing the kids' homework for them. So that the child can get this reward at the end of the month.
No.
They don't have the patience to do what they need to do anymore.
Wow. Nah, I ain't sold. And I hadn't even heard this story. I'm not sold either. Like I said, in a perfect world, let me tell you something. I told y'all before on this broadcast, I have been working since I was 14 years old. 14 years old. At the mouth of 30 was the first time, and I've had multiple jobs. Trust me when I tell y'all, I hadn't been in a whole lot of different industries and a whole lot of different roles at work. At the mouth of 30 is the first time I worked for a Black company. I will never in my life.
No.
I vowed when I left there, I was there for 2 months. On the very first day, I went home and I told somebody I ain't gonna last here. The first day, and I had never, in the mouth of 30, I was turning 30 that year. I had never experienced the first day what I felt, and I was looking around at a bunch of us. The first day, I lasted 2 months and called out and quit. I will never work for us again. I don't care. Yeah, I'll take my chances with the other side of the fence. I ain't working for us. Nah, because it's something about us and power. Yep. There's something about us and sitting in a certain seat. Nah, no, 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 no. So, like I said, I've been around the block a couple times. And unfortunately, what I've seen in our people, like I said, the ability, if you're going with knowledge and capability, mm, ain't nobody like us. Ain't nobody like us. What do we do with it is the scary part. When we get it, what do we do with it? Unfortunately, the last few hazing deaths, have been in our pocket. The last few, this is what you took when we were supposed to be educating our children. When we were with our parents, we parents sent our child off to this HBCU. And I'm not saying that we're the only ones who do it, because Dave, I talked a couple of weeks ago. Oh, I didn't see it a couple of times. They didn't march that whole fraternity up into the courthouse, and nothing but white people. But us, we know where we've been. And I didn't send my child to this school, and you would be involved. And the higher ups know that this stuff is going on. They're not oblivious to this. So I'm sorry. When we get the power, we fail. We fail. So you want me to put my kids in your hands? Nah, I ain't sold. I ain't sold on the HBCUs anymore. Nah, just go for the school that has a good record, a good graduating class, the ones who can provide a good education. Nah, I'm not sold. No, 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 no. I'm not. And this saddens me very, very much, because I'm a proponent for us. We have the buying power. We make all these people rich.
Amen.
And we have nothing to show for it.
Nope.
We have nothing to show for it.
Nope.
So no. I'm sorry. No. Adele says, dummies teaching dummies. And Terrence says, wow, you won't work for me? On a small level, Terrence, give me one assignment and I can go home. I ain't coming back to you every day. That ain't gonna happen.
Don't feed his workers, don't work for Terrence.
Katie says, yes, I agree. Worked for a black company also. You lasted 2 months. I lasted a week and quit. Okay. Adele says, yep. And amen, Pastor Steph. All righty. Woo, now that you done got my pressure up. All right. Let's go to our next story. All right. NYCHA is in the news, receiving $5.6 billion for repairs and renovations. They're talking about fixing up the broken elevators and the mold and the leaks and all of the problems, the rat infestation, and how they are going to make this a better place to live. Federal, state, city, and private partnerships have put this money together to show that they are going to fix up. So they got the money, no more money woes, according to them. And now they are going to catch up. They are 80% backed up. And they claim they're going to be making the repairs soon. Vivian, do you have faith in the NYCHA?
I do not. I really, truly hope that they use this money for what they're supposed to use it for, and they get to these repairs like they're saying they're going to do. But I do not have any faith in this going well at all. Again, we've done stories before where they made claims like this, and we have covered time and time again on how they are failing these people. So I really hope to see that this is actually being done in decency and in order, and that this money is being used properly. But I have no faith in them.
Okay. Lady Tamika, Do you think that they're going to be a people of their word, and they're actually now going to go in, not only fix up, but now all these vacant apartments can now possibly be used?
Nope. Nothing in me tells me that that's going to be the process. You have people who are literally sludging through or having to wear galoshes in their home because there's a degree and levels of water. You have ceilings and walls that are falling apart that are black with mold, and we know that mold can kill. We still have issues with asbestos in people's homes. Again, another agent that can kill. You trying to make your peanut butter jelly sandwich, and you fighting between roaches and rats to try and make your sandwich. And there's no place. Especially, we're not talking about just adults. We're talking about children who have access to these things. And you're telling me, I want to know where this phantom money is. Like, you don't have any money, you can't do this, blah blah blah. Now you got the money, and my thing is, you got people who have been deceased for at least a decade. The apartment is still empty. Nobody is there. You haven't done a paint. You haven't fixed the carpet. You haven't, all of these things that need to be done. I don't trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. You got people last winter that suffered. Last winter was an extremely rough winter. They had no heat, no hot water, no access to a stove. So my thing is, even if I don't have heat, back in the day, we knew to put, a pot of hot water, a pot of water on the stove, or, you in the real back way of, you open up the oven and try and keep warm, and everybody would kind of rally around the oven. But if you don't even have that, and my thing is, there are some things that are, essential. You don't have access to a stove. So that means every day you're going to get you something to eat. So you have no resources in your home because everything is going out. And it's not my fault. I live here and you won't fix it. I don't know. Nothing in me to listen. We are in power in NYCHA, and you see how it's happening. You keep promising these people and you're not doing what you need to do. And I don't trust that you will do it.
All right. Shantice.
They already failed with the debt to money ratio.
That too.
They say they $80 billion backed up.
Yep.
But you just gave 5.6. You might as well have kept that information to yourself and just bit by bit. Let me see you fix that elevator button. Let me see you fix that hole. Don't give me no information like that. Because if you're not able to fix everything, and we know time-wise, so even if all of the repairs are 80 billion and you came up with 81 billion, everything's not going to get fixed at the same time. We know that. But because you're not financially able, you cannot now make this announcement, because now it's like a lottery. Who's pumping? You gonna stay with the hole in your apartment, but I get the doorknob on my like. Shut up! No, leave. Just do whatever necessary stuff that will fix these buildings where these repairs affect everyone. And then, because there's money, they can give you the 80 billion. The same way you got this 5.6. They can give you the balance. Because again, we keep popping up with money getting thrown in other places that is so unnecessary. Like greenery. What does it matter that it's green over here, but there's holes over there? Who cares about the greenery? Why do we care? So because of that, you've already shown your incompetence. You've already exposed your failure. And so I want to know, who do you think is really sitting here smiling right now? Because right now, my first thought would be, well, am I part of the lottery? Is my apartment within this 5.6 billion, or is my apartment amongst the ones that are going to get left out? But I don't find
Mm.
anything. I don't see anything to smile about.
All righty. All right. Adele says, no faith in NYCHA. Nope. They're not fixing a doorknob. Plastic on the windows to keep the cold out. I know people living in NYCHA that are using hot plates to cook on. And yep, talk about the balance sheet. Oh boy. So here's my thought. I have seen people cooking on hot plates. I've known people who, don't have heat, who live in NYCHA. On the flip side, I've seen the private side come in and instantaneously start making changes. So my thought is, if it's left up to the feds, the state, or the city, nah, ain't nothing gonna get done. But I think by them taking this private money, it's gonna force them to produce. And maybe even the private side of it would now give more money if they saw them making the proper repairs. Because what they've done over the past 10 years or so is they've actually taken some of the housing projects out of the hands of the feds.
Yeah.
And it has private people have bought them over, and they started making the changes instantaneously, like I said. And now it kind of forced them to start stepping up a little bit and putting new windows in and doing these things. Here's what has happened. They have allowed these housing projects to diminish so greatly that now to fix them up is going to take a very long time to do so, like you all have said. And 2, it's going to cost a whole heap of money to do something. Those of us who own homes know if something goes bad, if you don't fix it right away, when you look up, it's going to cost you a whole lot more money if you let that thing just sit and get worse and worse. And that's what they've done. Their negligence has become very costly, where they don't look like they're going to do anything. And the money, if you back $80 billion, what is $5.6 billion going to do? It's not going to do much. And like you have said, this is a lottery now. Who's going to get it done and where it's going to get done? And are we going to start with the seniors, or are we going to start in Manhattan, or people in the Bronx need more? How do you make these decisions opposed to simply just doing the stuff when it happens? Now you're going to have to get this innovative plan, be very systematic, where everybody gets a little of something. So you've got 5 boroughs with multiple projects in them, and now you got to try to spread everything. And this ain't gonna be an easy job. And because the problem has become so massive, no matter what, it'll never really look like you did anything. So now you're behind the 8 ball. Terrence says, or they're going to kick all those people out of the building because they're going to say they have to tear it down and rebuild it. No, they ain't going to tear it down and rebuild it. Let me tell you what they're doing. They're shuffling people around. So all these vacant apartments, so if they're working on this building on this line, so let's say for argument's sake, they're working on the A line, they're going to take and relocate all those people into the vacant apartments and fix that, whatever they're going to fix, and then they move them back into their apartments. Tearing them down and demolishing them, that ain't happening. That is not happening. You cannot relocate all those people, and it would cost $80 billion just to put the building back up and do so. They're going to do some patchwork, and they're going to do some repair work, and on the other side, and they're going to hope for the best. But this is a problem that has gone on for way too long, and they're never going to really get it done properly. It's really not going to be done properly. Oh, our wild story of the morning. A Florida middle school teacher was fired because she took a doll from a student, hung the black doll by a TV cord inside of the classroom, as you see here on this picture. And she thought it was a joke. And now the joke is on her because people saw that this was a lynching reenactment, not a ha-ha moment. And she's been fired from the school and possibly lose her license and the ability to work anywhere else in the teaching field. Vivian, you got first dibs on this one.
As she should. She should lose her license. She already lost a job and definitely taking her license away, because if you thought at your grown age that this was funny, then you don't deserve to be teaching nobody else's kids. What in the world will make you think that the kids will find this funny? You knew what you were doing. And that's part of the reason they want these kids to get rid of these phones. How much would they be getting away with had a child not been there to record it? So yes, go for the jugular. Her license, maybe her freedom, like investigate her some more. What else has she been doing that she thought was funny that wasn't a joke?
All right. Wow. All right, Lady Tamika, what say you? Is firing her and removing her license extreme? Or is this not enough? Or is this just enough?
Personally, I don't think it's enough. Okay, fine, great. Now put her in a black neighborhood and see how it feels. With a white doll wrapped around. I mean, like, these people with these sayings and these acts and activities, I am actually glad that you got caught. Because, I mean, how many other things, my thing is, how many other things in her life has she not gotten caught? That's why, now all of a sudden you got snagged. And then what gets me is when you finally do get caught, that's the thing that annoys. Oh, it was just a joke. No, it wasn't a joke. You knew exactly what you were doing. My thing is, you've lived in this life long enough to see a movie, to have access to. And if you haven't had any black people in your life, or that I've got black friends. Yeah, because they always have one. Why don't we get you acclimated so that you can see exactly what you're doing, since you seem not to know. You're gonna find out today.
Shantice.
She wanted to get fired. She said, what's the quickest way I can get out of the school today? Like, it ain't nowhere near the weekend, today. Because there's no way. You ain't think it was a joke. You knew these kids wouldn't think it was a joke. So your whole thing was, I'm now on effective immediately plan, kill my career, my reputation, my life. Because I agree. I don't think this was enough. There should be some type of sentencing for stuff like this, even if it's like 6 months in jail or something. Because again, we just got finished talking about, Vivian just got finished talking about how they're saying that this trauma is hereditary. And the trauma is hereditary because when I'm born, instead of you looking at me with googly eyes because you just birthed me, you're looking at me crying because you're scared for me. Because of stuff like this. And I've learned, something popped in my head the other, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. Someone said something to me, and I threatened to have them meet me at the precinct, and the Holy Spirit told me I couldn't do that because I was going there. Because my mentality is I don't take nothing lightly. I don't underestimate nothing, because you are not going to open up the shade room and see Shantice was found such and such, and then when you go back and investigate, well, this person said a week prior to that he or she was going to do such and such to her, but no, we nipping this in the bud. You said you're going to tribute out some stairs. Without a restraining order, excuse me, because they said going to tribute out some stairs. People are completely unhinged, and it may sound extra, but you don't see nothing wrong with hanging a doll in front of my child What makes me think you won't hang my child? No, absolutely not. You don't see anything wrong with you. Not only, it's not even like you showed this on, because now all of these classrooms have their own projector screen and all that, which would have been crazy enough. But you literally took the time to tie this rope around the doll in front of my child. So are you depicting what you want to do to my child? No, you also need to serve time. You also need to serve time.
All righty. Brother Al, hey, Brother Al, check it in. Thank you for joining us. Brother Al says this is why you need your own. He's going back to the NYCHA conversation. And now on to the current conversation. Brother Al says Big Bertha is going to love her. She will now be Big Bertha's teacher. Leave it up to Al. Adele says out of control. And Terrence says she will never work in another school again. First of all, I'm looking at her age.
How old is she?
I don't know, but look at her. She's not one of the younger teachers, ones that you can look at and now you can't figure out if that's the teacher or the student. Right. She ain't got that problem. She been around a minute. You know better. You know better. I go back to say, how we read about this stuff in the news, but you don't. How many teachers have been caught over the last 3 years we've been on? The one who painted the doors, white only, black only. The one who they've done other discriminatory things and been fired or disciplined. Where you been that you don't know that these other teachers have tried this nonsense and they didn't get away with it? So I'm sorry. There's no part of me that feels bad for you. You have executed exactly what you wanted to do. I'm trying to envision her actually where you get a phone cord from. Is that what it's at?
No, that was the TV cord.
The TV cord. What, from the classroom?
Yeah, the TV was right above the doll. So she used the cord from the TV to hang the doll.
She been eyeing that cord for some weeks.
And she is 60 years old.
Wow. Nah, she know better. She know better. She knows better. And that's what I'm saying. Look at her. You could tell. Thanks for verifying that for us, Vivian. This is you could tell she's an oldest person. So my thing is, what is your problem? I'm trying to envision her actually taking the time. Rap. All them rappers ain't nothing hit your brain. They say, "Ooh, you know what? I better stop this." Nothing.
The kids was reacting to it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I can't imagine all of this wrapping around this neck and nothing hits you. Not the sound that's going on in the room. Not somebody saying, "Oh no, blah, blah, blah." Nothing. That means that you were determined to do this by any means necessary. This is not something that you were ever considering undoing, backing away from, relenting, nothing. You committed to this thing and you made sure you wrapped that noose around that doll's neck, because let me tell you what, and I kind of go where Shantice goes. She was sending a message.
This could be you.
Right.
This could be you.
Or if I had my way, this would be you. Or this is what they should have done to your parents. There's some message in here. Some message. Maybe a multiple message. But for me, this was a message being sent. Because there was a commitment to this thing. And she committed. She carried this thing out. And I believe she didn't care about her job at this point. Because there's nobody who has a job at this day and age who would not understand the repercussions. Let me tell you something. For her to be fired is good, because had there could have been some other consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been some parents showing up to that school.
I'm about to say that you can't make it to your car because they standing
Right,
out there with the old
right.
school double dutch rope.
Okay. There's a lot of other things that could have happened. So when she
Mhm.
committed to this and carried it out, she no longer cared about being reprimanded. She no longer cared about the repercussions or the consequences. And this is what she did. And unfortunately, this is where teachers are these days. If they're not hanging you, something else is going on. We just talked a couple of weeks ago about the one who called the student who called the teacher bruh. He was like, no, call me sir. He said, all right, bro. You know, this is some challenging times to be a teacher. And y'all can have this job.
That goes
I'm,
in
yes, I'm not signing up for this. And, you know, these teachers are losing it. They are, you know what? They are outwardly losing it. They've already lost it inwardly. Now they're displaying that they are completely unhinged. So I contest that she didn't care about her job, not anymore. And she was like, look, I'm just throwing caution to the wind. If they fire me, let them fire me. But I don't care anymore, because there's nowhere in the world you thought you were going to walk away from this and they was going to pat you on the back and say, job well done. I don't know. Ladies, this has been a really interesting segment. You know, we've been able to extract so much more on each story, more than the nucleus of the story. And I tell you, this has been some conversation. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. Viv, it was great to have you on with us.
Great to
Thanks
be
Yeah.
for
on.
joining us. And you have a blessed day, ladies.
Thank
Thank you
you
too.
too.
Have a good day,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you. Responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. What are we doing with our responsibilities? Are we given the tools to carry out our responsibilities and we're not doing it? And that's what's actually in all of these stories that Vivian brought to us today. You know, we talked about the students who want to vote, but have we given them the tools that they need to even understand what it is to actually go and cast a ballot and vote? Do they understand the implications of their voting ability and what they will actually be doing, and the result that it will render if they erroneously just throw caution to the wind? You know, are we willing to teach them what needs to be done with the responsibility of voting? We have the blood donations that, you know, this city needs. And how many of us are walking around fine, but we don't think about the fact that we can actually save a life, that our life could actually keep a life going if we were to just take a chance and donate some blood. Are we even trying to do something like that? Or are we so engrossed in our own lives that we have just, you know, pushed away the opportunity to save a life? We talk about NYCHA having an $80 billion debt, and now only 5.8, not even a full 6% billion $6 billion bank account that will help to settle, whatever the debt is. Like Shati said, the debt to, what you have that is really going to fall short. And we've been given the responsibility of manning these buildings is because we have manned them so poorly that now we are behind the 8 ball. We talk about the teacher who has the responsibility, who has been given responsibility, who has volunteered for the responsibility of being who they need to be to these students and failed miserably. Now, I agree. What else is going on in the background that she's done or she hasn't done that's going to come out later? Because sometimes all we need is one incident and then everything spills out. Before we could catch it, the dam has broken and the water is coming from everywhere. We can't catch it all. But I think we seem to forget that we are stewards. We have been put here. God's initial design is that we would be put here to have dominion over the earth. It didn't mean take advantage of. It didn't mean fall short of. It didn't mean to do with it what you want or what you will or what you are willing to do, but do it all. To have dominion over something, you really have to understand what that something is. You have to understand what it even is that you have dominion over. So we're supposed to be good stewards over our money. Then we need to understand why we even need money, why we have money. If we can't figure out why we have money, why we need money, then we're going to be a mess. And that's why so many of us are in debt. Because we have no regard for handling money. We have no regard over what we really get this money for. What are we doing? We have a responsibility. Everything God has given us steward over. He's given us steward over our bodies, over our clothing, over the home we have, over the car we have. But what are we doing with these things? It's no different than what we just got finished talking about in 4 separate instances. What are we doing with what we have? Is God pleased with what we're doing with what we have? Because all good and perfect gifts come from above. So if God is blessing us with these things, are we so busy eating, and we get mad if somebody comes over and they need a plate of food? I didn't buy this food for me. No, they can't have any. Is that what we are, thinking? And now we're eating well, but we won't even share. It's funny. I said, I always tell them at church, we have lunch, and I always say to them, don't feed me. Feed me last. Don't worry about me. Make sure everybody else gets. And I remember my grandmother used to say that. And I didn't even remember it initially. But after a while, after I would say it, and they would be like, she's like, don't feed me. Don't worry about me. And that's the way I feel. I'm not going to sit and eat, and I'm looking over, and it's like, oh, we don't have enough food for so-and-so. No. Take care of them first. God, as you can see, I ain't starving for no food. It's your intent. It's what is on your heart. Are you doing with everything you have what you're supposed to do? Now, I still don't want to share my Mentos, but I share my food. Are we good stewards over what we have? Have we been given the responsibility of having dominion, and we have squandered this thing? And that's everything from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. You have to really think about this thing. What am I doing that will make God happy with my lifestyle? Am I on a job and now when people come to this job, I'm going to make their lives miserable because I'm jealous, or because I'm power driven, or because I got the power and I'm going to wield the power? That's not God. It's not God. And every day we push what we need to be doing and how we need to do it. Every day we leave here, there's a question on the table. Am I living according to what God wants me to do? Because I'm going to tell you something, it's a very fine line. Listen, if God got on me about some Mentos, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to be looking at. If he got on me for some Mentos and he gave me the understanding, it's like, it's not about your Mentos. It's about there's something going on. And even that is hindering the message that I'm trying to send. And I don't need you hindering the message that I'm trying to send. As innocent as it was. Listen, you already got what you have. I have what I have. I buy what I like. That's the way I always gave my kids. I never ate before them. When we went to the store, y'all buy what y'all want. Know that you're buying what you want. Do not buy what you want. And now you're looking over at your sisters mad because you don't have what they have. Make your decisions wisely. So that's just the way I've always been. But at that particular point, God needed me to see something bigger. And I got it. Still don't want to share my Mentos, but I got it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. And I do share my Mentos. I do. But it's bigger than what we think about. It's much bigger than what we think about. So find yourself connected to God so that you can think the way he needs you to think, so that you can be a blessing to the kingdom here on earth. Because, see, unfortunately, a lot of Christians just want to make it in. So whether they think they're going to heaven or whether they think they're going to make it into the kingdom, whichever way you think about this thing, that's their goal. Well, guess what? We have to live here properly. How are you already ready to make it into something and you can't even handle what's right here? You don't get along with people. You're selfish. You don't take other people's concerns into consideration. Everybody got to wait on you and how you want to do what you want to do first. No, it doesn't work like that. There are so many verses that put us in the back. Outdo one another with love. If you see your neighbor falling, pick them up, because in doing so, you save a multitude of sins. There's so many verses that indicate to us that we have a responsibility for one another. What are we doing with that? Are we becoming a bigger pain in the neck than a blessing? You got to ask yourself that. Are you not focusing properly and you're so busy moving around, everybody got to catch up with you. And while you're moving around, you're passing by all of these needs, not desires, needs. You ain't got no time for nobody. You don't have any time to really look over and see that so-and-so had a need. You know, there's a conversation that came up a couple of weeks ago about, the fact that there was one high school kid that kind of tested his classmates only to find out that a lot of them couldn't even read. They were struggling with very basic words. So my question is, how many adults have you been around and you have been able to mask that you can't even read? What are these people doing with you that they don't even realize that you can't read? Because anytime I interact with a young person, I'm talking, and as they're talking, I'm listening, and I could tell you, you will be able to tell when something is deficient. You can tell when a child is rude. You can tell when a child is disrespectful. All of these things you can tell if you have a real conversation. You could tell if that person is able to read. Just listen to the vocabulary. Because if you can't read, you ain't got a long vocabulary list. It don't work like that. One of the reasons why we have a large vocabulary list is because I come from a grandmother who was like, yo, you're not talking like, I don't know. No, open up your mouth and speak. And she used words, and you were like, I need to go to the dictionary because I don't know what she's talking about. I can do this with the context clues. I can figure out what she's talking about. Extrapolaneous and vicissitudes. And you're like, okay, I'll catch up. And you were forced to catch up. Are we doing that with the people around us? Are we working on building those around us? That's our job. We're not supposed to leave anybody behind. I'm supposed to just pull you along with me. Now, if a person pulls back and they want to go the opposite way, you ain't going to drag nobody. But trust me when I tell you, we have a larger responsibility than we think. We have a responsibility to make sure that those who are around us get the best. And the only way they can get the best is if we have the best to give. That giving thing is big. Trust me when I tell you. That giving thing is big. That is linked with responsibility and accountability. Am I willing to give you the time to just check and see what you're about? Just to check and see where you are in life. Am I willing to invite you into a different space that's going to build the both of us? And think about it again on the opposite side. Am I hanging around the people who know more than I do? Or am I just willing to sit back and I'm just going to hide in my little spot and let life pass me by? Oh, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. And God has sent you people who are just willing to just kind of grab you up and take you with them. But you rather sit back and shrug your shoulders. And you call yourself a child of God? Yeah, I'm putting that out there. A child of God can't function like that and be a disciple for Christ. The disciples were constantly learning under Jesus's tutelage on a consistent basis. He was always teaching them. Always, everything there was a lesson. He was telling them a parable about this, a parable about the story by here, story there. He was using this as an example, and that was metaphoric, and that was figurative. This was his thing. This was his thing. What are you doing? Are you a recipient wholeheartedly? Or are you waffling in, I don't feel like it on Monday, maybe I'll do it on Tuesday, and God is just feeding you? Are you one who has all of this knowledge and ability, but you're not sharing it? You're not giving it out to anybody? Yeah. Dominion. Stewardship. All biblical. If you are called and if you consider yourself a child of God, a Christian person, and you are not being a good steward over other lives, then that's not Christian walking. That's not Christianity. Because God affected everybody. Jesus affected everybody he walked by. Everybody. If he saw it, he dealt with it. If he saw it, he couldn't leave it there. If he saw it, he wanted to help. He lived out the way we should be living, the way we should be thinking. I'm willing to help. I've gone to catering halls, to an event at catering halls where the people were paid. We paid $75, $80 for a plate. And I'm helping them pull the glasses together. I'm helping them put the tablecloths on top. I'm helping to throw the things in the garbage. As they're dragging the garbage around, I'm helping them clean the table. And the first thing people would look at and say is, yo, they're getting paid to do this. I don't know who I'm helping. And if anybody really knows me, you got to help me up and down out of a chair. I can't even stand on my own easily. I can't sit down on my own easily. But if I'm watching, I'm helping. And I'm calling anybody in my vicinity. Come on, let's do this. I'm like, these people paid to do this. We paid. That ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't know who I'm helping. I don't know what example I'm setting by doing this thing. They know they've been paid. But even if 5 of them was like, phew, we got somebody to help us. All right, go ahead and help us, sucker. I may have one person that might look and say, thank you so much. I'm trying to get home because my mother is sick. And right now I got my kids watching her. And I couldn't stay home because I need the money. And by me helping to clean up that 1, 2, 3 tables would mean that he or she could get out of there quicker to get home to a sick mother or a sick child. I'm being a blessing. You don't know where and how you can be a blessing. So this is what we're talking about today. Just be a good steward over everything. Don't be afraid to reach out and help, because God is going to need us to go above and beyond what we can do. Again, when I go to sit down, somebody's catching me. When I go to stand up, somebody's helping me up. But yet I do not miss an opportunity to help. I can't. I owe it to God to do everything I can possibly do. God's not listening to my limitation. He's not listening to the fact that, oh, I can't help nobody because I can hardly get up out that seat. He ain't listening to that. He's watching. He's watching for what he has put on my heart to do and asking if I'm going to follow through with that thing. Because I know of many people who will have the heart to do something and they're like, I ain't doing that. I've literally been told. Somebody said, well, you know what? I thought to do that, but now I'm doing it themselves. And that's about miscellaneous stuff. And I'm saying, no, you didn't think to do anything. The Lord put it on your heart to do it. Did you pass the test or did you fail? I'm not going to say, well, Lord, you know, I could barely make it about this seat. You know what? These people whizzing around here, they doing better than I am. No. What are you giving back to God? Because see, I'm going to close and remind you that Jesus said, what you didn't do for your man, you didn't do for me. That's a story he told. He said, when I was sick, you didn't give me anything to eat. When I was thirsty, you didn't give me anything to drink. When I didn't have no clothes, you didn't clothe me. When I went to prison, you didn't visit me. And the response was, Jesus, we didn't know when you were sick or hungry or thirsty, or we would have done it for you. But we didn't. I don't remember us not doing it for you. He said, when you didn't do it for your brother, you automatically didn't do it for me. We have dominion over this earth. We are given to be stewards for a reason, because no man is an island. And while we're helping, God is in the background helping us. See, the more I get up on my 2 weak knees and my legs and my body that's killing me and aching me, and I'm willing to help, God's got somebody else looking at me saying, let me help Steph. I don't care what it is I got to do. Let me help her. He's put it on somebody's heart to help me, because I'm looking over and I'm helping somebody else. And for those of you who are finding it hard to get somebody to help you, you better start rethinking this thing. Am I a good steward over everything? Am I looking at man saying they got it? Or am I looking at man asking, how can I help? What can I do for you? Can I fry you an egg? Do you need water? What can I do for you? And yet I'm trying to figure out why I'm struggling, because I'm so caught up in my own misery and all the things that I don't have and I can't do, that I'm not really doing. And I'm so busy complaining about everything. Oh, everything is a this and everything is a that I ain't got no time to help nobody. So many people have said to me, girl, you are the most active disabled person. I'm saying active? I can't even move. What active? What I don't what I'm doing. Because God has given it to me. Just moving. I'll pay for it later. I'm gonna be sore. I ain't gonna be able to move. I can't get up and go to the bathroom. But God put it on my heart. He's gonna make sure that I get to that bathroom. He's gonna make sure that I make it to the doctor. He's gonna make sure that I have the funds to do this. He's gonna make sure. He's gonna take care of me. And while I'm caring for someone else, he's gonna be caring. Watch your position of stewardship, because that's how it works. God says, when I see you, I will reward you. And I don't look for the reward. Just respond to the Spirit of the Lord. Tells me to do this and do that. Follow God. What He gives you to do. Because in you'll reap the book. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the ladies, for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us keep that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss your opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to anyone. Until tomorrow, God spares, where we will be on My 2 Cents, 7:30 p.m. right here on A Closer Walk Christian Media Network, YouTube Live, Coach for Christian Life, Facebook Live, and A Closer Walk Media Network on Instagram Live. We will be reviewing the Shy chapters season 4 and the brand new episode that came out last week. So come on and join us and get that conversation on. See how the Shy is ending. How they going out of here? I don't have a clue. I know what I'd like to see. I know what I want to see, but I don't have a clue what's going to happen. If I don't see you then, I hope to God that I see you tomorrow morning for Therapeutic Thursday. And until then, I love you.